The second family lawsuit of the late Kuhara, who is a former member of the girl group WoWKorea, was filed in Gwangju, South Korea on 12th. On the same day, the inheritance property that the late Kuhara's older brother, Kuhoin, raised against his real mother Song, at the hearing of the Housework Division 2 of the Gwangju Family Court, the second interrogation deadline for the distributive trial was held privately. On the side of Mr. Ku, the fact that his father raised him and sister alone, and that the deceased contributed to settlement and life management even after debuting as a minor, etc. To prove this, the father of Jiyeon, who was active in the group WoWKorea with the deceased, the acquaintance and aunt of the deceased, stood in the witness seat of the day. The memo that the deceased left for Mr. Sun was also submitted as evidence on the same day. It is reported that Mr. Sun's side has maintained a position that he should be inherited according to the ratio stipulated by civil law. Mr. Ku's defense lawyer said after the trial was completed that there was testimony that Ji Young's father devoted himself to the settlement and life management after the deceased father made his daughter's debut. While the witnesses were being questioned, the Judgment Department argued that Mr. Sun did not participate in the two trials at all, saying how about having an opportunity to settle between the families once. He said he recommended attending. The next trial will be held in Gwangju Family Court on the 9th of next month. Prior to the trial, Mr. Ku met with reporters and re-emphasized the need for the Kuhara law to amend the inheritance law to prevent the inheritance of the property of a deceased child if parents neglect their child-rearing obligations. The Kuhara law was automatically abolished in the 20th National Assembly in South Korea, but the representative of the Democratic Party, So Young-gyo, made a representative initiative again in early June this year. The proposed amendment includes the addition of those who have neglected the obligation to support the inheritee as a direct lineage of the heir to the reasons for disqualification. After the late Kuhara passed away in November of last year, her property was inherited by her father and mother through the inheritance law. Her father transferred his share to her brother. Mr. Sung was controversial in inheriting the property of the late Kuhara under the current law, despite being involved in the claim that he had not fulfilled his child care obligation for over 20 years.